Hi, this is Linda Noss, and this is the sixth video of the concentration video series. Over the weekend, I made a lot of changes to the program. I decided that the buttons were going to be all about images, and the grid was only going to have one constructor. So I'm going to just go through some of the things that I made changes on, and you can go through and make changes too. So I'm going to start with the button class. The button class, I had rectangles actually printing out, and I've changed it so that it is all images. Each button has a back image and a front image so that it flips like a card. And then I have this extra image here, and you'll see why I use that in a minute. But basically, it's the image that the current image is equal to. So I have a Boolean that I haven't really used a whole lot called face up. I have another Boolean called blank. I have a Boolean called over, so we can determine if the mouse is over the rectangle. The ID is going to help us determine if two buttons match each other. And then I just basically shortened these variables. This is the width of the button, the height of the button, the X coordinate of the button, and the Y coordinate of the button. So I made those changes there. I have a constructor here that doesn't do anything. It's just an empty constructor, but it allows me to copy the button. And then this is the biggest change I made right here, was in the button constructor. I'm still bringing in all the different coordinates, the X and the Y of the button, the width and the height of the button, and the button's ID. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to load up all the images. Notice that I have the front image is just an image I found on the internet that I found at absolutebackgrounds.com. There's hundreds of them there. I just found that one I liked. And then I resized it to be the size of 90 by 90, which is the buttons. And then I set the initial image equal to the front image. So when we lay all the cards down, all the buttons down on the table, they'll have that as the first image. Then we have the back image, which is going to be the actual images that we're going to match. You'll notice I also resized these to be 90 by 90, so they're all the same size. At the beginning, the face up, it's not face up, it's false. And the buttons aren't blank yet, so that is false. And then I have my button ID. I set that equal to ID, and then my X and my Y and my width and my height. I set those all equal to the X coordinate, the Y coordinate, the width and the height. And those are all coming in, the X, Y, WH are all coming in through your parameter list at the top here. So I took each one of these parameters here, and I set them equal to different variables, instance variables of my button class. So that is the constructor that does all the work of creating a new button. Then when I go to the matching section, I got to find out if one button equals another button, and a button is equal to another button if everything about the button is the same. So here is, this actually doesn't check to see if they're equal. It actually sets one button equal to another button. So let me just make a comment here on that. Sets one button equal to another button. So you can see that. And you can see that in order to make one button equal to another button, I bring in a button from the outside world. I'm sitting inside the button class, so for this button, the X coordinate is going to equal that button's X coordinate. This should be Y. Glad I caught that. The Y button is going to be equal to that Y's button. The width is going to be equal to the width. The height is going to be equal to the height. The back picture is going to be equal to the same picture, and the front picture is going to be equal to the same picture. And then the ID is going to be equal to the same ID. So I took all the different parts of the button and set them equal to the button that comes in from the outside world. Then I have my display method here. Essentially, I want to display an image, whatever the image is at the current image at the time, and I want to display it at the button's XY point. So that takes care of that. The over method, basically the over variable says, am I sitting over the button? If I'm sitting over the button, then I want to, and the mouse is pressed, then I want to go to the mouse clicked method, which is down here, and I want to set over equal to false. So that takes care of that. This I think we already had in our previous button method. It just checks to see if the rectangle, if I'm sitting over the rectangle by checking out the X and the Y coordinates right here. And then the mouse clicked, I'm basically, if I have flipped over these two cards previously and they match, then my plan is to blank them out. So if the cards are blank, then I'm just going to return, which is an easy way. See, this is a void method, so this is kind of interesting. A void method does not return any value at all. So I can still have a return statement here, though, but notice I didn't say return something here, so it returns nothing at all. But it does cause the method to stop running. So if the two cards I flipped over or the card I pick is already not there. If I click in a space, it's not there. If it's blank, then it's just going to return, and basically it's going to bail out of this mouse click method. So that's that. Now, if the card is not face up, then the image is going to be the back image, else the image is going to be the front image. And then I'm just going to print that image out. So that is my button class so far. It's not perfect, but I think I'm a lot closer to what I want than what I had before. So again, I'm just going to spend a moment here so you can see the changes. This is from the top. I've changed a few things here. I've added in another constructor right there. I've changed the constructor, I think, quite a bit from the previous one. So now I'm just working with images. So let's leave that there for a moment. And I have created an equals method, so I'm setting one button to equal to another button. And I'm going to display them. And then this we had before. Then I have my mouse clicked. I may change the name of this because the mouse clicked is a special word. It's not really working the way I want it to, so I may just change the name of that method later. For right now, we'll leave it like this. So that is my button object. So go ahead and make the changes to this one. And then we're going to go ahead to video number 7 and make some changes to grid. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.